So let's go ahead and look at draining this case. I guess the first thing I'll do is just show you how easy it is to take off the top of this case. Undo those 2 screws in the back, and the top comes right off. Got your dust filter. Oh, I also, on that Commander Pro, I have one temperature probe up top for monitoring the exhaust temperature, and one on the bottom underneath there for monitoring the intake, and then another one on the water in the loop. And I know that loop order doesn't matter, and the water's going to cycle so quick that it doesn't really matter. Your water temperature is going to equalize. But I did buy a second temperature probe because I wanted to have one temperature probe at the beginning of the loop out of the radiator and one at the end of the loop, just to monitor the temperature differential, just because I'm curious. I know it will equalize quickly and it's not anything I should actually be worrying about, but I just thought it'd be fun to have one more location because it supports 4 with that Commander Pro. So anyways, one of the best things about this case is this front panel just comes right off. It just lifts up and out, which means you now have access when you're going to drain this from not only the big side, which you normally have, but also the front. So let me take off this side panel. Note that I'm doing this one-handed, by the way, and I'm just going to set that down where it's nice and safe and out of the way. So yeah, I've got full access. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this PC down, power it off, and we'll go ahead and pull the components out and see if I can drain this loop okay. Okay, so here we are about to drain the loop, and just a few notes first. One of the things I found that are really useful are these kind of surgical gloves, like for cleaning or mechanic work. They actually give you a lot better grip on fittings if you wear gloves like this. It makes it a lot easier to get purchase and spin things. The other thing that I have here are some wrenches, and obviously I have somewhere to drain the water. Now, one thing that's super useful to do is to measure how much water you initially put in your loop. So when I filled this up, I used exactly 1,000 milliliters to fill this, which was pretty crazy. It ended up being exactly that. But when I drain this, not all the water is going to come out. And I'm not looking to drain this completely. I'm just looking to drain it enough that I can change some of the fittings at the top. So however much water I take out of the loop, I need to make sure it goes back into the loop. So I'm using a Pyrex so I can measure that. So the other thing I'll need is when I built my system, I got these G1/4 kind of just fittings that let you put tube on it. So that can just attach to the system on this drain port, and we can let it drain out. So there's a little ball valve here. This is pretty easy to do. So that's pretty tight on there, so I'll use my little wrench. And because I have this valve, I don't have to worry about water coming out right here. And I hope you guys can see that okay. I'll maybe come in just a little closer for this. And then I can go ahead and screw on this little bit of tubing. And what also would be kind of useful here is would be a rotatable nozzle, but I don't have that right now, although I can put one on in a second. So backing it back out, we're now able to open up that loop. And you see nothing's actually happening yet because there's no air able to come into the system. So I'm gonna grab the camera so you can get a closer look at this. So we've got our valve going into the Pyrex, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up a little bit of air right here. And that's going to start flowing. Reservoir is going to drop first. And it's only going to drain not very far. So the next thing that we're going to do to remedy this, to kind of push a bunch of air back out, is I'm actually going to unhook this top port and cap it off, and then connect a second. This is what I use to fill. I'm going to hook that up to here, and then we'll be able to blow on this tube and it will shoot all the water through the system. So let me get that set up and you can see how that works. Alright, so I've got the tubing off, but I still have to get that fitting off. Let me show you like my number one tip for this. Take one of these gloves and go ahead and cut off one of the fingers. And now you have kind of a soft material that you can put over this 5/16 wrench, and then you can stick it into this hole and it just fits there snugly, and you can just turn that. You're not going to damage it, but yet it makes getting these fittings off and on super easy, and highly recommended tip that I just kind of came up with, but it's worked incredibly well with these EK fittings. Okay, so let me go ahead and cap this side off. And by doing that, I seal off any pressure, and then I can connect this side up. Okay, so now with that side capped off and this side connected in the fill port, you can actually close your ball valve down here. So we've now got that closed off, and then move this part down into the bowl as well. And now you have a straight line leading from the top and all the way through your loop, completely sealed out to the end. So if we put some air in this, just using your mouth. And I've seen Jay's 2 Cents do this, so if I get comments about this is not sanitary, I got it from him. And there you go. You've got, you can blow on that a little more and let the water settle and then blow on it again, but we actually have a pretty clear loop here that's fairly drained. So I can work on the fittings that I need to work on at the back of the case without worry of spilling a bunch all over the computer. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about how to do water cooling. My first foray, and it's been pretty fun and exciting. Although, the price you pay versus the rewards you get, I am getting some better overclocks, definitely cooler temperatures, and it's quiet. So, but also it's kind of an art form and a hobby. So anyways, if you have any questions about your loop or my build here, go ahead and post them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and depending on what I hear back, we could do some more builds, or sorry, some more videos on this build if you have questions. So thanks for watching.